Hello and welcome to Capricorn season. Can you believe it? Capricorn is actually one of my favorite seasons, and that might be like an unpopular opinion, I'm not sure, but I feel like we sort of disregard Capricorn. It gets a bad rap, that I don't think it really deserves, even though there are definitely some Capricorn ruled people that aren't, our favorite, but that's okay because that's not Capricorn's fault. It really isn't. We all have our weaknesses, you know what I'm saying? But Capricorn is actually a really beautiful energy. It's like the sign that has all the original instructions for human life, for living, how we're meant to take care, the beginning, right? It is about building, and it's about understanding that the earth is not separate from the mystical, that the earth and physical experience is not separate and not isolated from like a mystical, spiritual, invisible world experience. It really is a blend. Remember, it's not just a goat, it's a sea goat, right? And they climb the mountains, they live hard, they build in this real world because that's what makes us feel connected. That's what makes them feel connected to the universe, to existence, to spirit, to whatever. And whether that's true for every individual Capricorn person is sort of irrelevant. But what is important is that the energy is here for us. We're in Capricorn season, and today we are going to look into the future, look into the energies, and see what our invitations are so that we can all thrive together. Sounds good. Hello and welcome back to It's Queer Magic. I'm Kirbo, they, them. If you're new here, welcome. We on this channel talk about queerness and magic and liberation and love and everything fun and cool. And we have a good time. Again, we like to be ourselves. We like to get wiser. We like to love deeper. We like to learn to live better literally every day because what else is there? So we do our best. If you like that, if you want to hang out, stick around. And if not, I love you. Have a good day. Thanks for checking it out. See you around. What? I don't know. Okay. Today we are doing readings. We're doing a reading for Capricorn season. We have so much time left in Capricorn, so don't get at me about it being late. We are doing this by the element. So we'll start with the earth signs and go through the elements. They're intended for your rising sign, but anywhere you have a lot of concentrated earth sign energy, this would be important for you, or concentrated elemental energy like stelliums or any multiple planets or multiple important transits, whatever you feel like you want to look at, please do look at it. Take what works, leave what just isn't you and isn't for you, but definitely sit with what challenges you. And you'll get the most out of this reading and every reading that you get. Okay? So here we go. We're jumping right in with the earth signs. The card I've pulled for the earth signs, we are talking about what are your invitations? Like, what are you being invited to pay attention to during Capricorn season? And the card I pulled for you is the High Priestess reversed. And I'm specifically getting this feeling, like this message that it is not about what you don't know. That sometimes it's really important to figure out the element that you don't understand, that you don't know, that isn't clear. And it is very tempting to hyper focus or solely focus, or at least be distracted by what you don't know, right? That element that is uncontrollable, that is unknowable, that is in flux and moving. And it's a frustrating experience, especially as an earth sign, to be asked to sort of leave that alone. And, I get that. I have an earth rising. I'm right there with you. But the thing is that this month or this season, Capricorn season, it's not asking you to just like let go and trust everything. Of course, you're always being asked to trust, but this is not about leaning into the mystery and just trusting, right? While we're trusting, what you're actually being invited to pay attention to is that you already know what to do. This is not about what you don't know. It's about what you do know. It's about what you already know. The pieces of the puzzle that have been revealed to you, the knowledge that you have gained, the clarity that you have accessed. There will never be a time in your life where it feels like everything makes sense and there's no unknown element. That's not realistic. That's not something you can wait around for. You will literally be waiting forever. But especially during this month, you're being invited to just try, to move, to go, to use the knowledge that you have already to build up something that actually works for you. This feels like looking at your routines. It feels like making sure that you're not like leaking any energy anywhere that is not intentional, like in your money, in your time, in your attention, and what you think about, what gets your energy, right? Where is it being spent, and is that intentional? Not necessarily asking you to like tighten up everywhere, but just making sure that it's not because you don't want to make a phone call, or because you didn't notice, or because it's harder to say I don't want to talk about this than it is to just like zone out while someone's talking to you, right? I get that. Again, Earth rising. But this month, you're being asked to utilize the knowledge that you have gained. It feels like if you don't ever utilize the knowledge and the wisdom that you've learned, is it even really wisdom? And can you continue to gain more, right? Will you get more wise? Will you continue to learn? Will you continue to grow and expand if you continue to ignore the growth, the possible, the information, and the actual wisdom that you've been given? They're like, we've told you. You already know how to do this. Why do you keep asking the same question we've given you the answer to? You know how to do this. And there are places in which you are struggling. And that is just a part of it, right? There's no path that's worth taking that is only going to be ease, right? Ease is not satisfying if there has not been any kind of effort. And recognize there, I did not say struggle, I said effort. Effort and struggle are different, and effort is love, right? Struggling is not love, but effort is love. And I trust you to find the difference for yourself. But there is a call to be the leader that you're meant to be, from a place of not always feeling like there's more to know, there's more to do, and that your experience of being like competent is somehow like always off in the distance, or held at an unreachable, an unattainable place that is somehow always moving. The line is somehow always moving. You're going to be inspired this season to make something or to do something, or you might just find you have more energy in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. And it's not about running in circles with it or never moving because you don't know what to do. This is a chance to go back over your journals, to go back over your like readings in the past, to go back over what you have learned and bring it all into play. It's time to follow the instructions you've been given. You can do it. We can do it. And I let me pull another card just to see. Yeah. Because I was like, I know this is a lot from just the High Priestess reversed, but the next card I pulled was the Four, you can't see this, the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles. And we are absolutely talking about building a container for our lives, for our physical experience. We need to look at our routines. We need to look at where our energy is spent. We need to make sure that our portals that are available to receive and to give are not blocked with the lack of giving or the lack of receiving. We need to make sure that the energy that we're spending is not just being drained out from side of us, from not knowing that there's a hole or a spring in the boat. It's about saying, this is energy I'm intentionally giving because I know what to do. I know what I need. There are unknowns, and that's just going to have to be okay. But it's not time for me to sort of wander and relish in the darkness and the unknown. It's about using the earth energy, the building energy, the logical, I know how to do this, original instructions for life, the part of you that's already learned it, that already existing in your body. At some point, just witnessing that knowledge is not enough. You have to use it. And that's what you're being asked to pay attention to this season. And I think that if you really listen to the knowledge that you've learned and you try to utilize it all, trying to bring it together to something tangible, something usable this season, that you'll find that you start the year off with really good footing, feeling like you have more energy than you've ever had to get stuff done or to be the version of yourself you're trying to be. And you'll find yourself really building out the foundations for the life that you want to live. And I think that sounds great. So put your heart into it, earth signs, because you already are capable. You already know what you're doing. You cannot wait any longer. It's time to just trust what you know and let go of the rest. When you need to know it, you'll know it. And that's just it, right? So if that's what we're doing, then forward we move, right? Absolutely. Okay, air signs, it's your time. The card for you for Capricorn season that you're being invited to pay attention to is the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups reversed. And the main feeling I get from this is like, okay, we recognize that boredom happens. We recognize that stagnancy is sometimes just a symptom, a condition of our healing journey, of where we are in our career, in our physical body, in our spirit. And sometimes when we come to a stop, it's required, and that still builds up a little bit of stagnant energy. Even when we're resting, even when we're actively resting, when we're finished, sometimes it is not necessarily super simple to just like start full speed ahead, right? Or to get that inspiration that you might be looking for. And I really feel like that's what it is. I feel like it's inspiration. I feel like there's no need to panic. There's no need to freak out. If you're not feeling inspired, you're not sure what you want to do next, or you aren't necessarily in a place where you feel really lit up or fueled about anything. And it's okay that if that's going on right now, and it's okay if it's been that way for a while. Capricorn season says that you can get out of that place. You can get out of that position. You can move into a cycle of inspiration, but you're going to have to be the one to start it. And that is frustrating sometimes, depending on who you are. But ultimately, it's freeing. It's a freedom thing. It says that stagnancy is not a cage that you're living in. It is something that you can do something about. You can actually put your hands in, engage, and make something happen. The Four of Cups reversed is giving me the feeling of like, these cups won't empty until you empty them. Of if you want to make something, or you feel frustrated or restless because you don't know what to make, you only have a portion of that inspirational energy where it's like, I want to do something, but I don't know what, then you begin by just doing something. And it sort of doesn't matter what. It's like, I don't know who thought of this, whose idea the like inspiration cycle is, or who said it first. So not me, but it's really coming to mind with this reading. It feels like the idea that you can either wait for inspiration to act and to make something, or you can act and make something and then receive the inspiration, right? It is a cycle that can be started from either end. And the Four of Cups reversed really feels like they're just waiting for you to start it. It's okay if the first thing that you do is not your dream project. And it's okay if the first thing that you start painting or writing or baking or whatever is not the final product, or if it's something that you don't complete. It really is okay. Like, you're an air sign, or at least have big air sign energy. Like, there's going to be things that you stop and start, and that's really just okay. It has to be okay, right? If that's who you are and if that's how you work and how you live, it's okay. It's only bad if we decide that there's another way to be and that way is better. And we don't know that. We don't know that. We're just deciding it, right? So letting that go and putting that aside, there's no drama, right? There's no issue. There's no problem here to just start something, right? Like, if you're like, I literally know that I won't ever finish a bullet journal, but I sort of want to make a bullet journal page. Just make a bullet journal page, because the thing that you want to do and the thing that you want to put your whole heart into, the creative endeavor, the passion project, the whatever new journey is ahead of you, like, is going to come. It's yours, right? It's already existing as something that's attached to you. It's just not in your current experience. And that's okay. But there's nothing we can do about that. So if that's what it is, we're just going to start. And I say there's nothing we can do about it, but starting is doing something about it. It's getting those engines warm, right? It's warming up the muscles and the ligaments. It says, I am going to get back into the habit of making, so when the idea, when that deep inspiration that moves me, that lets me have this catharsis and lets me put my feelings into it, whatever it is, when that happens, I'll be ready and I will be not out of practice and I will have been experiencing my own creative light and my own creative energy. And I know I'm really focusing in on a creative thing, but I do think that it's important to share that I don't necessarily view that just as like creative activities like painting and writing and stuff. Like we all make things and we all need inspiration for very various things, for very different things, and that still applies. So if you're like, I'm not a creative person, but I'm an air sign, like they're not talking about me, I am talking about you. I am talking about you. Air signs, like you are fueled by ideas. And when you feel like you don't have an idea for what it is that you're trying to do, whether it's in coding or in math or in planning or in organizing or in literally anything in the world, then you need ideas. You need ideas for any of those things. And the Four of Cups reversed just says, it's this season. Don't wait around. Don't wait around for it to come to you. Go to it. Get these things flowing. Get these energy centers moving. I think focusing on spiritual cleansing for the whole season will probably be really good. Focusing on physical movement, on creative movement, anything that gets various juices, whether it's like creative or academic or whatever it is, any of those juices, to get them flowing. That is the thing that you should be focusing on, because the energy is already there and it's only a fraction of it. It's only a tiny spark and it's going to build into a flame. But if you sit there and you wait to be fully inspired by the incredible big idea that is like the one, and you never try anything else to like keep in practice and to stay limber, you're going to be jarred and shocked and set back by the big idea. You won't be prepared to hold it. You will be afraid of it and you will be unable to receive it and move forward with it. It will not be able to be born through you. And you don't want that because you can already feel this thing coming. So let it be born. Let it have the space that it needs to come, but move the energy so that when it is ready, it can come through really smoothly. And again, I do think they're connected. I think that when you do start moving those wheels around, moving the gears, when you do start giving yourself permission to do the small things that maybe don't matter or maybe are like less intense, that you're not like as prioritized about, letting yourself do those things and get those gears moving, I think will cause the idea to come through a lot faster, a lot more swift than you might be afraid of it coming at. Yeah. The second card for you is the Hanged One. This is just how it is right now. You're uncomfortable, and make that sacrifice of being uncomfortable for the knowledge that is available for you. Because again, this big idea, this thing, this movement is happening. You will be moving forward, but this is the time for you to get yourself down off of the Hanged One. And you can't do that quickly. You've got to do it slowly, which means that you are going to be uncomfortable, which means that this surrender and this sacrifice that you're making of just doing something until it changes into something with weight and depth that matters to you. Just trying to get these things moving will be releasing yourself from the bonds of the Hanged One. And again, the Hanged One is good. That's like good bondage. It helps you actually learn and gain. It's an incredibly valuable tool, but it can be really frustrating as people. So remember, this pause is necessary. It's sacred. The suspension is necessary. It's sacred. And use Capricorn season to get those engines roaring, to get those juices flowing, just to limber up, right? To oil up. I don't know. I'm like thinking of machines, but I don't know the words for machines. It's like you're, putting the oil, right? Like Tin Man style. And it makes everything smooth so that the system works. So when the big thing drops, you're ready and it can turn into something that changes your life like it's meant to. Okay, fire signs, your turn, your time to shine. Okay. So the card for fire signs this season, for Capricorn season, of what you're being invited to pay attention to is the 8 of Swords. And I want to hone in on this really quickly because this is an 8, right? So the stuff I'm about to say might make you think that it's a time of stopping and a time of like inaction, right? Of just surrendering and there's nothing I can do. And, you know, and I understand why you might think that, which is why I want to start with this is an 8. And an 8 means that it is a transformative portal. An 8 means that you go in to this experience one way and you come out different. You come out changed. The 8 is when a lot of the effort, the actual like physical, tangible transformation happens. And it might not be physical, but it is where we get our aha moments. It's where we meet ourselves in the dark and find out the ways that we have been sort of holding our own selves back and where we're giving into fear and where we're letting ourselves stay the same when we know inside we're different already. The 8 of Swords as the focus for Capricorn season for you really does say like the limits that you feel like you have are self-imposed. Not to say that like other limits and challenges don't exist. Of course, money challenges exist. Physical challenges exist, right? Marginalization challenges exist. There's so many challenges and no one is denying them. But we know that we live in a world with challenges. And we also know that you, I, and all of us are incredibly powerful beings. And multiple things can be true. I can be multiply marginalized and incredibly powerful and able to shift my own life and able to find freedom. Not despite my circumstances, but working within my circumstances, right? If there's a piece of it that I can't change, that it's something I got to work with. And that is true for you. It's true for me. It's true for all of us. And I'm not saying that the challenges that exist don't exist. But what I'm saying is that there is a piece, a part that is very strong, that it maybe is the strongest part of you, that probably is born out of the marginalizations or the challenges that you face in the real world. Maybe it is because of those things. I'm not denying that. What I am saying though, is that that piece can only be changed by you. And even further, that piece can only be shifted in your mind. It is a perspective. It is a mental experience of understanding yourself as one way, of trying to force yourself to stay one way when you know that is just not the case. It is giving into fear. It's giving into the sort of lie is a harsh word, but it is a lie, but the sort of like ways that our own self detrimental and self-sabotaging ways are like disguising themselves as something useful, right? That is where the 8 of Swords really comes in powerfully to transform you. It says you think that committing to this idea that you are a failure will mean you will be safe forever. And the 8 says it's time to uproot that idea that you're a failure because you aren't. Or uproot the idea that a failure is somehow a bad thing and that it is final. And those things are not true. And you don't have to believe that right away. The 8 of Swords certainly doesn't think that you believe it. But the 8 of Swords says it's time to look around and recognize that the ties, the binds that you have bound yourself in, that you have bound your wrist and blindfolded yourself, are ready to come off and that you can do it. And that it is big work. It is brave work. It is not easy. No one's pretending that it's the most simple thing that you can do. But what it is powerful. And it changes you. It changes your life. So however that translates into your own life, right? In what ways are you holding yourself back? What are those fears attached to? And is this time, right? Because the things that come up don't come up just because there's nothing you can do about it and it's just like an issue you have. It comes up because it's time. Your resources have shifted. Your experience has shifted. Something has shifted to where it's time to look at this. So look at that stuff again. Even the old stuff. If it's coming up, look at it. Don't be afraid and recognize this message as encouragement that you literally can do something about it. And there's so many of you. I don't know individually what your thing is or how you're going to get over it or how you're going to get through it or how you're going to transform. But I know that the message that you need to hear is that this season, the energy's on your side, baby. This season, you've got in the invisible world saying it's time to move on from this. And are you going to trust it? Are you going to transform? right? There's another idea with this card that it's not just us trapped in a circle that's like shoddy that we can't get out of even though we can, right? That we won't let ourselves out of even though we can. There's another idea that this is intentional ritual, that we have come out to the shore at the low tide, and we set up these swords, we bound ourselves, we stood in the middle of it because we are sacrificing and we are transforming. We are ritually releasing ourselves from the thought processes that keep us chained down and frozen in the spot. Whatever you're dealing with in your head that is on the brink, right? That, especially if it's something you felt like you worked on and it's sort of doing a surge, it might be one of its last and final grasps at you. You know, things get stronger before they're gone, before they're exercised. And that's okay. And it's okay also if it doesn't go away forever after Capricorn season, because that's, you know, our nerves run deep, our brains are complicated, and it's just how it is, right? Memory lives in us. But I think that the 8 of Swords as an invitation for you, fire signs, really does speak to the power of the transformational cleanse and release, of the transformational self-investigation, of being radically honest with ourselves and letting ourselves live. How can you let yourself live? How can you get on your own team, step out of your own way and make something possible? Because there's a piece of you that thinks it's just impossible. And it isn't. It isn't actually. And I can feel you right now being like, yeah, maybe most of you, but I've got this and this and this and this. I know you do. I know you do. You have a lot. You have so much. More than you deserve to have to deal with. But you are still you. You are still a caretaker God on this planet as a human being. You are still someone who in your own mind can free yourself. You can. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's hard. I'm flat out saying it's a difficult thing to do. But with the energy on your side this Capricorn season, look to the truth and not to the fear. What is the truth and not what is the fear? And let yourself lean towards the truth. Let yourself be guided towards that light, towards that shining, blinding experience of this is the reality. And I have not let myself see the whole story. And I'm recognizing now that it is not protecting me. It's not keeping me safe. It's keeping me unmoving and frozen in place. And it's keeping me dissatisfied. There's more possible for you than you think. And the 8 of Swords wants you to know it and believe it. So that when you move, when you finally take off your own bounds, your own ties, your own blindfold, that you let yourself become what is true, what is honest about you. Whether that's your name or your gender or your sexuality or your career or the color of your hair or the things that you like it might just be that you are afraid to tell the world that you love pasta. And I know that that's silly, but keeping something and trying to be something that we aren't doesn't feel good on any level. And I am prone to silliness, so sue me. I'll see you in court. I will not. I can't afford it. Please do not sue me. But I know that there's something for you. And the 8 of Swords knows that there's something for you. And the 8 of Swords wants to help you transform those limiting beliefs. It's time to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. All right, water signs, your turn. We are looking at, for water signs, the moon reversed. There you go. The moon reversed. And it feels to me like an invitation to look into like the deepest, darkest recesses of you for something that is calling to you. Something that has maybe not been calling to you that loudly for a while. Something that has been hidden really deep. Like this feels deep and dark in a dark cave that is like finally ready to see the light. It's finally ready to be the truth and to let other people see that it's true and to let you, the other pieces of you, see that it's the truth and that maybe it's always been the truth. This feels like an invitation to trust in the transformation that's happening. It seems to me like this could just bubble up from inside of you and feel like something is just like changing. Like I went to sleep really loving this thing and I woke up like unable to look at it. It's not something I want to engage in. It's not something, right? Like it feels like almost the flipping of a switch. It might take a little longer than just the flip of a switch, but it feels like some drastic change in the way that you think, in the way that you feel, in your desire, in your understanding of yourself and the world around you and your connection to it. This is deep healing in the way of radical honesty and in the way of being surprised by what and who you are. And that is an interesting experience. It could be a very interesting experience. It could be sad. It could be, uncomfortable. It could be really ecstatic and wonderful and so exciting. It can be a lot of things. But I think what it's going to be is transformative. Because the other card here I have for you is Temperance. Something is changing, right? This is big transformation. This is something that is absolutely spirit-led and spirit-guided. This is something where you are being assisted by something in the invisible world. Like you've been planting seeds for 15 years, right? You've been planting seeds for months and months and years, right? And now it's not going to feel like they're sprouting. It's going to feel like they're just growing. And then all of a sudden you turned around and there's a 10-year-old tree that you walked into because you didn't notice it growing until it was full grown. And that's okay. That's okay, right? Sometimes it can be disorienting and we can feel scared or sad because a shift that seemingly suddenly can knock us off our game, right? It can be scary and it can be like, I don't even want this to be true. You're going to go through a whole myriad of feelings, a whole series, a sequence of feelings that are just to be felt. It's just a process to be gone through. But there's no reason to not trust this, especially with the moon here. And the moon is reversed, which I don't put too much weight into as a reversal. Like there's a few cards that for me just don't get reversed. And it's okay. But I do think that the moon reversed this time, it feels so much more like a piece of you that has been in shadow this whole time, getting not the full sunlight treatment, but that silvery starlight shining off, like the silvery moonlight that is still mysterious and still, somewhat obscured, somewhat obfuscated, finally being something that reaches your mind. And again, ultimately, all of this just feels like you are going to turn around and realize something that maybe has been true the whole time that you just didn't see because it was too far in your periphery, but it was still in your vision. And you just couldn't see it until all of a sudden your vision went like this and you can see it now. It's like, oh, it's there. I did not know it was there, but it's there. And it has an inspirational feeling. It has a relief feeling to it. It has a purification in the sense of not getting clean or clear, but in the sense of getting to the essence of you. And this seems like it sort of had to happen in the moonlight, in the dark. It sort of had to happen without you seeing it coming because you might have run the other way or you might have dug your heels in and said, no, I'm not doing that. But I think that this is really going to let you be somebody who has better access to the way that they feel, who understands the roller coaster, or not roller coaster, that's alarming, but the waves, right? The tides of the feelings and the seasons of your life in a way that is much more tangible, in a way that you can actually do something with, that you can plan for maybe, or that you can engage with in a way that has you feeling like you're actually getting it out. When you're crying, it's doing something. Maybe if you haven't cried in a while, which, some water signs don't cry. So, that's the thing. Maybe it's just going to happen. If you're not somebody who speaks about their feelings very often, it might happen. But ultimately, more important than that and more specific than that, I think, for water signs as a whole, is that this is a transformation. I just think that you're going to wake up and feel different. So when that happens, you are invited to pay attention to that. This is a really transformative season for you, water signs. I think that this is something that I couldn't see coming for you. I think that this is something that you can't see coming for you. And there's no reason to be scared. I think that you really are being asked to just trust what you find spontaneously growing in your garden, right? In your internal garden, the garden of you. When, you know, we don't always plant every seed intentionally. And sometimes when they pop up, it's not the thing we wanted or it's not great, but sometimes it's an unexpected delight. And I think this is going to be a delight. I think that you are going to know yourself differently. And I think that it's going to be rooted in desire. I think it's going to be rooted in inspiration. I think it's going to be rooted in how your relationship to your energy and where you're going to direct it is changing. And I think that that's amazing. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that this was helpful for everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are interested in what you hear and you want to get like more, if you're interested in what you want more, you can always join the Rainbow Witches Patreon. You get weekly readings, opportunities on one-on-ones with me, and we do a bunch of stuff in there. We have a good time. So stick around if you liked it, subscribe, leave me a comment if you liked the elements. If you prefer to go through the signs individually, we can go back to that. I just wanted to try something new, and I'll see you around in the next video. We've got the spiritual tools video coming up super soon, so stick around. Happy Capricorn season. Happy 2024. Hang in there. You've got this. We've got it together. Stay cool. Stay queer. Love you a mill. Love you a trill. Talk to you soon. Bye.